Welcome to HR Talk with HRLocker. In today's episode, we're going to discuss how businesses can help their employees through wellness initiatives at this vital time. We also discuss maintaining a healthy mind and body with Tricia McDonnell. Tricia McDonnell, originally from Ennis, County Clare, is the owner of Doolin Yoga Studio, and there she runs day and weekend yoga retreats on a monthly basis, teaches a variety of weekly yoga classes, as well as working with the local football teams by providing a combination of yoga, life coaching and sports psychology. She is also a life coach and can be found at yourbestlife.ie. Tricia has a fantastic list of achievements to her name in sports, as well as being the teacher of physical education in Limerick Prison. She also represented Great Britain and Ireland in golf in the Curtis Cup and Vagliano trophies, as well as being a former Irish ladies golf champion and a winner of the Irish Golf Writers Award for female amateurs, as well as being a former member of the winning Irish home international team. So Tricia, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast today. If you wouldn't mind, for those who are listening, could you provide a quick bio about yourself, just kind of your background in sport, your reason for moving to the West Coast as well?
My name is Tricia McDonnell, and I currently run a small yoga studio, Doolin Yoga, here on the outskirts of Doolin. I grew up in Ennis, and I suppose sport was always my first love. I used to play camogie an awful lot, and it was a great escape out of the house. Where there were 7 kids of us, so it was a busy house. It was always great to get out. So I progressed from the camogie onto the golf, because the golf course was at the top of the road. So it was very handy after school. I could just grab the clubs and walk up the road, jump the wall, and go play in Ennis Golf Club. So I loved that, going there. I used to play in the dark, whatever, just to get away on my own. It was lovely and peaceful, and I loved being out in nature. So I played competitively golf for 18 years, and I represented Ireland and Great Britain and Ireland. Won the Irish Championships a couple of years back to back, 2005 and 2006. Yeah, so I really enjoyed, I suppose, what I learned from playing golf competitively. And I suppose, you know, as I spent so much time preparing for the golf and trying to enhance my performance, I started to look into yoga and ways to improve my performance, body languages, mental preparation. And it led me really to yoga. And from that, I continued to develop my practice, and my love for yoga just grew and grew. So I did a yoga qualification in 2004 in France for a month. I went to live in an ashram. It was quite intense, an interesting experience, I suppose, being thrown in the deep end. But after living there intensely for a month, I never felt such peace of mind is what came out of it for me.
Wow.
We chanted every morning. You know, you get up at 5:30 every morning. We chanted 6 to 8, and at night 8 to 10. You chanted every day intensely for the month, and it was amazing, the feeling of bliss after it. So I taught for a couple of years after that in Ennis, and nice, relaxing, gentle yoga classes. And I suppose that's what I got out of it, and I wanted to give it back to people. So that started my journey. I suppose I golfed for another number of years, and when I finished having kids here, we built a garage with a small yoga studio. And I suppose that we're just going into the 4th year now, and it's growing and growing all the time.
It's amazing.
I do day retreats now. I've just started those recently now. I really enjoy those, because I can combine then the meditation, the pranayama, the breath work, yoga, and a bit of fun, because I always think it's got to be a bit of fun if you're going to stay with it. We go for a nice hike. People could do a pier jump. I provide lovely lunch, and to see what people get out of that day is just really rewarding for me. It's fantastic, the bond that's created by the group as well during the day. It's lovely to see.
Wow, well, that's amazing. That's a great story. I want to hone in on the term, on the word journey there. That's a brilliant journey, all the way from camogie all the way to pier jumps and yoga. I was going to ask what inspired you to quit the day job and set up full-time. I assume the yoga and your retreats really kind of fed into that.
Yeah, definitely. I still go to the prison twice a week. I job share, so I reduce my hours there all right. So I job share there twice a week. And yeah, it was always my dream, though. A number of years ago, I found my goals recently, and that were written about 12 years ago, was to actually have a small yoga studio. So it was a dream of mine, and it came to fruition, thankfully. But I suppose giving back to people, I think that's what you always want to do. Sport, wellness, they're my passion. That's what I love. And what I've got out of them, if I can pass it on to somebody else, then for me, that's really rewarding.
Yeah, brilliant. And apart from the yoga, what other methods do you teach? And I suppose as we are on the HR Talk with HRLocker podcast, how do you see those benefiting the business community? Obviously, we're in a strange time at the moment.
Yeah, meditation, big into meditation. I spent a week there in Spain in September doing a silent retreat for a week, which was very interesting, just meditating, seated meditation and walking meditation. And the benefits of meditation can be great, just to connect to yourself, I suppose, your true self, which are really beneficial. So I'd be big into the meditation, small, short bits of meditation daily. Pranayama, the breath work is huge. It's absolutely massive. Again, my standard class would always include some breath work, because we move at such fast pace. I know thanks to the corona we're starting to slow down, but we generally move at such fast pace that we lose connection to the breath completely. And really the first thing we do when we're born is we breathe, and the last thing we do is we breathe. So breath is hugely important. If we can control the breath, we can control the body. We get stressed and anxious, we breathe in the upper part of the chest, we move faster. Whereas we actually sit and take the time a couple of times a day to just breathe slowly. The difference it makes to our body and mind is enormous, and how we react to things as well. It just really helps us to slow down. Some people prefer to do breath work as opposed to meditation. Some people find it very hard to meditate. And there are days when any expert in meditation will find it really challenging to do it. But it's to sit there on the good days and the bad days and just sit with yourself. I also do a little bit of core and conditioning here, because the fast flow yoga, vinyasa yoga we do does require a lot of core strength and conditioning. So I've developed a couple of short classes of that I do during the week. So I also do that. Games, I'm big into games. I often host people for hen parties, or crowds that are over just on a fun weekend, a reunion of girls coming over I've had. So I'll do partner poses and yoga, but I make it fun for them, because they say they want yoga, but really they only want a bit of crack. So that's where my PE teaching comes into it, and I devise a program with some nice games and challenges, putting them into two teams, and they love that. I mean, it's great fun. I'd love to crack into the corporate market doing a little bit more of that as well. I just feel when you get people to that place where they're having good fun, they're just open to learning, they see different side to each other, and the best side of generally the best side of ourselves is revealed.
Wow, brilliant. And I'm hearing you say fun a lot, which is not something I was expecting really. But definitely maintaining the positive mental health is obviously a struggle for a lot of people. But with this coronavirus and a lot of people starting to slow down a little bit, you're actually seeing would you say you're seeing a positive effect on some people's mental health?
Massive, yeah, definitely. And I'm sure it's a challenge for some people, because I'm sure as we come out at this time, it will be a challenge, have been a challenge for people mentally. But there are huge positives to come out of this. Slowing down, staying local. Somebody was saying that to me this morning. It's so true. We're staying local now. I have a daughter that I bring to Galway for gymnastics, and I know that she goes 4 times a week. That's going to be coming back on the horizon soon, and I dread that in a sense, because it's so lovely. We're around the house a lot, and I get time to do my own bit of practice a little bit more at home, which is lovely as well. But definitely, I think there are huge benefits coming back into ourselves, and just staying local and supporting local businesses, etc. I just think it's great.
Hugely, absolutely. So Tricia, at HRLocker, we're a DDO, so a deliberate developmental organization. So we place people at the center of everything that we do. Adult development is fundamental to our core business, in a sense. To ask from your perspective then, how does adult development tie in with what you do, and what things could businesses improve on in the future to help with employee engagement in creating a more happy workforce, a happier workforce, and a more engaged workforce.
Yeah, I see. I was looking you up actually. I see that the truth and trust are two of your core values, and I love those, that you have those as your core values. They're great. I do a bit of life coaching. I just trained last year as a life coach, so I have a website, yourbestlife.ie, and that's about creating the best life for the individual. And I think it's very important because it's different for every individual. It's getting to know yourself, what your core values are. And I mean, and then it's bringing people together when you're in a company as well. I mean, I think it's important that as companies support individuals' growth, and encouraging their self-care is very, very important. I always like to place an emphasis on the first 15 minutes of the morning when you wake up, to make that first 15 minutes something for you. So that might be lie in the bed and stretch. It might be to breathe, it might be to meditate, it might be to have that cup of tea, if you said, whatever works for you, but consciously taking that 15 minutes as you time. And especially for people that have kids and busy lives, I think it's really, really important. It's important that we keep building self-esteem, confidence of our employees or in your companies, and people can be their authentic, true selves. That's what we're all aiming for, I think. Challenging people to move outside their comfort zone on a daily basis. That's where team bonding can come in, great, outdoor pursuits, any of that stuff as well. Bonding people together, having a bit of crack. I'm big for the bit of crack. And I think it's really important that people feel good from the inside out. That is working on themselves so that it's coming from the inside out, like the 15 minutes in the morning, that, they're focused on themselves. And then the rest of the day, once you start the day good, then, you have a good chance of it getting better. And even the night before, that's another one I would always say, plan your day the night before. But I think definitely bonding activities of any sort, be it little quizzes, on Zoom, because it's quite a challenge now with the corona to get people together physically at the moment. But I mean, it will lift and move forwards. But anything that brings people together, bonding into little teams, I think is fantastic.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So a lot of that stuff, I suppose, focusing on yourself in your own private life during the morning. When you go to work then, would you say the company would have a responsibility really to kind of champion that and remind people that they do need to look after themselves as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if people are happy within themselves, you're going to get more out of them at work. We all know that ourselves. I think, if things are good, within ourselves, we'll be more productive. I know some companies have rewards for physical activities and little things like that, or they can have the group meditation and all those things, and maybe a group meditation in the morning when you come in is lovely, be it sitting silently or breathing, whatever works for people. And I know some companies do those spreadsheets, adding activities that you're engaging in or that you're doing for individuals. And if they can do them together, isn't it fantastic? Because they physically can't get together now, maybe two people might say, right, I'm going to run 5K or I'm going to walk 5K. We'll both do it at lunchtime. We'll see how long it takes and we'll put it on our spreadsheet when you come back, stuff like that. I think,
Perfect.
Liaising together and working together, it's just a great motivator. I think people that stay consistent at exercise, really, a body is the key, and motivating each other. So within the work environment, when you create that culture, it, has a snowball effect and can grow massively.
Perfect. Lovely. Yeah, sorry. I'll edit a little bit there where I said nothing. I'm just listening to you and I'm trying to answer the questions as well, but I'm actually so intrigued. I'll have to get out for a walk now after work. So Tricia, if somebody out there listening wanted to speak to you or have you even come on a Zoom or, when people are coming back into the office for a few days a week, if they wanted to contact you and speak with you or have you in to give their employees a bit of a boost, how would they go about contacting you?
Yeah, you can contact me. I have two websites, doolinyoga.com, and my life coaching website is yourbestlife.ie. You can email me or I'm on the phone, 0862074335.
Lovely. And for anyone listening on the podcast or on the website, I'll link to those in the description as well, so you can get in contact with Tricia. Lovely stuff, Tricia. That was really, really insightful stuff. Thanks a million for that. You've definitely given me some food for thought. Thanks a million for joining us on the podcast.
Great. Thank you very much, Ronan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to another episode of HR Talk with HRLocker, the podcast that brings you all things HR, adult development, remote working, and deliberately developmental organizational culture. We're available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your favorite podcasts. Subscribe now and tune in for the next episode.